But talk about the Cavs a little bit. Let's go over to the Cavs and talk playoffs.
Playoffs, baby.
But so far we saw the Cavs during the regular season, and in my opinion, the Cavaliers I thought were playing a little fishy and kind of not playing to the best of their ability. To me, I don't think they wanted that number 1 seed. I think they wanted the 2 seed because they knew exactly what Boston was going to have with the Chicago Bulls, which they're down 2-0 right now. But do you guys think at the end of the season, I mean, to me, it's interesting to see. I mean, when the Cavs are losing games by almost 30 points, I just felt like we have a lot of talent. I don't care if LeBron and some of these guys are missing. We still have a lot of talent on this team. And we should still be competing.
No, because because even when LeBron James was playing in those games,
he's a great player.
He wasn't really playing in those games. He was literally out there making sure he kept the juices flowing. He was playing. He was trying to score. He was trying to do what he's supposed to do. But he realized, look, he's not going to win the MVP because Russell Westbrook is having, hands down, one of the most historic seasons. And we said that last year about Steph Curry. And I think it's this year is more historic, at least in my opinion, because to go and average a triple-double every night is a Herculean effort for anybody. The last person to do it was in the 50s, and that was Oscar Robertson. So, I mean, it's not like it's one thing. I literally, when I watched those games and LeBron James was playing, you could see he was literally just out there going through the motions at LeBron James level. It was like, I can make this shot, I can go hard in the paint, I can do all this, but I'm not going to beat my body up playing the Charlotte Hornets on a Tuesday night at the end of March when I know I gotta bang my body against a guy like Paul George, or I know I'm going to need to rest because he's not a young man. And he's played a lot more minutes.
If you could see the face of Josh
right now.
Your
retort?
He's cringing right now.
Here's my thing, and this may not be popular, but
oh boy.
I could not stand watching the Cavs this year. In fact, I probably watched, starting in January, 2 to 3 games the whole rest of the season. And that's by choice because it's frustrating. Now I hear this talk about LeBron beating up his body. How come our athletes have all this great technology? They got these meal plans, and they're in the best shape. They're bigger, faster, taller, but they need rest.
You got to admit, the game is different now than it was.
Yeah, the game was tougher back then.
Yeah, but here I'll say this: nobody on a night in and night out takes a bigger beating than LeBron James, hands down. And I will say that till I go into the ground. Because he gets run over in those games.
I think this is a general statement overall.
No, I where you're coming from.
Well,
there,
and this is just a total, and this is where I'm kind of the get off my lawn old guy here. But this whole notion of do the Cavs need the rest? Do we need to rest? Should we come out and play? Oh, we're playing this game, but we're not going to play hard because we don't feel like playing. I think it's total BS, and it's actually ruining the game to the point where it's like you said, it is a different game. And to hear these guys come out and blatantly not give the effort, everyone can see it, that they don't want to give effort and say, oh, we just got to play better. We just got to play better. And not play defense when we all know defense is 100% effort, and they're not giving it. I got to the point with the Cavs, if they're not going to care, I'm not going to care to watch. And I know that sounds like it's a fair weather fan, but I'm not going to waste my time watching half-ass basketball. Excuse my language. I didn't mean that to come out. Beep. I'm not going to sit there and watch that.
Yeah.
And me, I'm a huge fan of the 90s basketball,
right?
90s NBA, where the guys played all 82 games. The guys played hard all 82 games, and then they played into the postseason, and they play hard.
But the postseason was significantly shorter than it is now. Was it not?
I think
because in between each games they get 2 to 3.
That's a 7-game series to go all the way through. I mean, if you're playing, that's a lot more.
Sean,
games
because they get a lot of days off during the series. They get 2 to 3 games.
I'm not arguing that, but what I'm saying is that look, it's the game that we can't. I can't go back and have Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Bill Laimbeer banging on the Bulls anymore. It can't happen. Because it just doesn't work that way. There's too much money involved in these players. These players are getting $82 million over a 5-year period.
And shouldn't they play for it? Shouldn't they put in effort?
But it's all guaranteed money. So if I'm going to save but you have to understand from a business standpoint, they're investing.
I don't care about business. My business, if I want to spend money and watch them.
To your point, then, does it matter if they didn't play well on March 28th against the Charlotte Bobcats, but in June, LeBron James is able to do what they did and come back from a 3-1 deficit? We don't know how much resting in the. We all said it last year when he took 2 weeks off, and everyone in this town lost their freaking mind because they were like, "Oh, he's going back to Miami." But lo and behold, he was able to pull down rebounds. He was able to play good defense and come back from a 3-1 deficit in the middle of June after 82-game season that he played. He played more this year than he did last year. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't think it matters. The Eastern Conference is not the premier conference. They're not the most competitive conference, in my opinion. If you're looking at the Western Conference from 1 to 8, all 8 of those teams are better than probably half of the playoff teams in the East. So they know they don't fear any team in the East. After what they had to do last year to win a championship, they don't fear anybody. Like I don't mind what happened in the regular season because it's the regular season. It's 82 games. And LeBron James, he's always said it doesn't matter if I'm number 1 or number 8. Get me in the playoffs and see what happens. This team is not going to be beat by anyone in the Eastern Conference. I don't see it.
Do you think the Boston Celtics are thinking that when they're down 2-0 to the 8-seeded Bulls, who were dysfunction during the whole regular season, but it just so happens Rajon Rondo and Jimmy Butler have come to play, and they have a 2-0 lead. The number 8 seed.
I don't know. I don't know what is going on in Boston, but that team flows through a guy like Isaiah Thomas, and the personal tragedy he's going through is probably played a big psychological factor in a guy like that. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but that whole team flows through Isaiah Thomas and his play. It does.
Oh, if he doesn't score 40 points, they're not in the game.
It's the same thing with the Thunder.
The Celtics need him to score a lot of points, or he's not, and that's the same with the Thunder. They rely on Westbrook. I think when you compare, then and now, I mean, I understand where Josh is saying.
Yeah,
but in the regular season too, my dad made a comment. He said you're not going to show all your plays in the regular season, and I agree with that. That I think Ty Lue had certain plays that he has for the playoffs that he didn't have in the regular season. They were still going through the thing. You can't compare what happened in the 1990s with now because the game of basketball is so different.
What plays?
The physicality.
What plays do the Cavs
now, tell
have
me this:
now?
Was Larry Bird a physical beast for the Celtics? Was Magic Johnson?
I get your argument, but I know not going back to the past. But what plays do the Cavs have that they don't show? Their play is, all right, guys, let's dribble the ball up, give it to LeBron. He'll dribble. He can drive.
They had a lot of individual basketball in some games that you saw that there weren't a lot of movement. All of a sudden now everybody's moving.
It's called the stanky leg offense. It's been around since LeBron came back.
No.
I mean,
last year, you're going to tell me when the Cavs won a championship, all they did was individual basketball?
No, that was the year before when
we didn't win.
To do that.
No, I get it. They when they play good team basketball, nobody can beat them.
Right.
Nobody can beat them. And it's that what saved them in the championship last year was defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not doing that.
But you got to also see we have Darren Williams, we have Kyle Korver. We have some new guys on the team
that can score. That
are scorers. That Korver's not a great defender. Darren Williams, he might be okay.
He's not. He's never been known as a really great defender.
He's
good, but
J.R. Smith hasn't been around a lot this year because of injury. Shumpert was out because of injury, and those are
all
two
the
decent
teams
defenders.
though last year were trying to build their teams to match the offensive output of the Golden State Warriors, and that's what the Cavs are doing. They're trying to get shooters because they're not good on defense. But when push comes to shove in a 7-game series, the team that plays the better defense wins. And defense, in my opinion, is all about effort. Mm-hmm. And as far as the regular season goes, and you can say these first 2 games in the playoffs where they've given up leads.
He's not, but Ty Lue, and you probably disagree with this based on your last half hour of tape, is that he's not blaming the defense on that. He's blaming the offense.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that ISO ball of what you're talking about. They're not really playing team offense in the fourth quarter. Now, he's talking about guys might be tired. They're playing lots of minutes. That's all on him. For what it's on him regardless. I mean, they couldn't decide whether they wanted to get rest, too much to the chagrin of Josh Jeffy, or go for the 1 seed and say, no, let's screw it. Let's just get the 1 seed and be done with it. I mean, they kept messing around with who's going to rest and who's not going to play, who's going to play, and all that. I mean, by the end of the year, you didn't. To Josh's point, you didn't know what Cavs team was going to be out there. Right. You didn't know if you're going to have LeBron and Kyrie Irving or just LeBron playing and Irving and Love sitting or any one of the big three.
And I would say that the guys had so many injury problems towards the end of the season. I would like to see the guys play and get into them as they go into the postseason. Let's go into the postseason winning 4 games. And how about we win convincingly so the fourth quarter, the starters don't have to play. They do get their rest. But no, in turn, they lost 4 in a row. The kind of things are up in the air. Ty Lue's got to juggle his lineup. That's tough to do on the fly in a playoff series. I know each playoff series is individually different, but I just think of Cavs with this talent, this caliber of talent on the team, should not be having this much difficulty. Albeit, they are up 2-0, but they're having some troubles with this Indiana team.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm sorry, Ed. Go ahead.
They had the same. If you remember the series last year against Detroit. Those were not close. Those were not.
You're right.
Those were all close games.
Good point.
Every single one of them were close. Like Detroit was not out of it, and they were the 8th seed. This is a 2-7 matchup here. So I mean, to me, and you have an actual superstar in Paul George that you're playing against. Detroit didn't have that last year. So
and a professional agitator in Lance Stevenson.
I don't like that guy. I don't know. I guess the whole notion of the. We've heard it a million times. The whole light, the switching, the light switch turning on is.
Yeah,
it
just
bothers
me
because I think this team does have a lot of talent, and I just don't think the issues and the struggles with a team with this talent should be there.
But can you look, if you look at the playoff system, the way it's set up, a team like Indiana who played their way into the playoffs legitimately. And LeBron and the Cavs had locked up their playoff spot. They were never going to get below probably 3, I think was at one point was like the worst case scenario.
Like that.
So they were always going to be favored going into a matchup. Do you not think that just a coach, the coaching staff of the Indiana Pacers, and a guy like Paul George says, you know what, let's shock the world. They're the Kings. They're on the top of the hill. Take a shot at them. Same thing happened last year when Portland beat up or took it to Golden State. Everyone's saying, "What's happening? What's happening? How can you do this?" Or Oklahoma City should have won that series, to be honest with you. But they eked it out and made it to the finals. This is the same type of deal. It's hard to have the hunger once you get the championship. That's what we're seeing right now.
Popovich is doing it.
Popovich is
that's where it all started, really.
Yeah, but that's a core group of guys who've been playing together for a long time. When he was doing
20 years.
Yeah, I mean Tim Duncan had been on that team, and he was the standard bearer for that team for a very long time. And Tony Parker and all those guys, and Ginobili. But what I'm saying, and you're going to walk away, you're going to be mad, and that's fine. But these
actually,
guys,
just
what
does
it
grab
matter if you win by 6 points, 1 point here or there? Like a win's a win. Like I don't think we're not doing style points here.
Well, I think what happened last year is that what happened in the playoffs last year, the Cavs completely devalued the regular season.
Right.
By taking the team who took the regular season seriously and dispatching them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what turned, and that's what's changed. When that happened, that changed the course of regular seasons going forward for the rest of time, at least in the NBA level, because the way you look at it is as you have half the teams make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
which already dilutes the regular season, in my opinion, anyway.
Agreed. And you have a team like Cleveland who they know they're getting to the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. They know they're getting there. So once they get, they played pretty good. They played hard for maybe the first 60, 70 games. They get themselves a spot in the playoffs. They know they're going to be there. It's if their prerogative is to try to get rest and try to move things around, then that's what they're going to do. I don't think it's right. I would prefer to see everyone play 82 games. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
When we were watching Mark Price and the Cavs growing up, I mean, you didn't see Mark Price taking off for rest. You didn't see Larry Nance taking off for rest, Brad Daugherty, anything like that. But the point is, the regular season just doesn't mean anything anymore because as long as you get in, where you have scheduled rest you already have scheduled rest, and then you're seeing the same opponent with a potential of 7 times within a 2-week span, very similar to the parallel that Duffy drew with the Indians with the Indians pitchers and the Cubs hitters. A lot of stock is being put into Ty Lue's ability to prepare for a playoff series because he was flawless at it last year. Yeah. Absolutely flawless. Now it took him a little bit of time to get there in the finals game against the Warriors, but until he loses a playoff series,
it's true.
what they're doing is working, and we'll probably second guess it if and when they lose. But that's
You're right.
Whatever they're doing, they've proved themselves to be.
I just have to get used to the new way, I guess, of doing things, and I have to.
But if they win a championship, does it really matter what the effort was?
No, it doesn't.
Like
and
I said,
that's where
he'll
and that's,
watch then.
Well, yeah,
everyone will watch. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Josh. I hate the fact that
it's just
especially in basketball.
It's just frustrating when you want to watch your championship level team that doesn't give championship level effort. I mean, I'm not even asking for it. Every game. I'm not saying go hard 82 games. I understand guys need rest and all that stuff. Do I think they need a bunch of rest? No, but if they need rest, that's fine. But when you have these games where they blow leads, and then after the game you're talking about, we just got to play better, an excuse here, an excuse there. It's like, not just come out and say, I guess we don't really care. It's fine. That's just it.
You'll never hear anybody say
I
don't
know,
care.
I know, and that's where it is. And then you hear on sports radio, everyone starts freaking out about it, and then you come into a playoff series where, especially the last game where the Cavs have a 19-point lead and they blow it in the fourth quarter again.
Yeah, but you could attribute a lot
they
of that.
They totally blow it. They
Yeah.
never down at any point in time after that.
No, but
and also you could also take solace in the fact that you look at guys like Kyrie Irving and missing shots that he normally doesn't miss. I mean, in game one, how many open layups just didn't fall in the basket?
He's actually been a little bit off in this series shooting wise from the outside.
I mean,
but he's been smart because
last game. So I mean, it's not.
But he's also, when he's not hitting the outside shot, he penetrates in the lane and gets the medium
and Kevin Love
jump shots.
Came to play in game two. I mean,
Kevin Love's a mismatch for the Indiana Pacers, and
right now, yeah.
And at Josh's point, you mentioned it's a close game. Really, the Cavs have dominated most of the game until the fourth quarter.
And then they start jacking. I agree with you. They just start jacking shots up. Yeah.
I've noticed the offense has changed in the fourth quarter where it's a lot of individual basketball. They're shooting threes when you really don't need to. But last game they did, both games they pulled it off and they won. Now, the first game, if C.J. Miles, I mean, he had a wide open look and he should have shot it. Paul George, what do you think the Pacers are going through? After every game, he's blaming somebody for their loss, whether it's C.J. Miles or the rest of the team.
Do you fear anybody in the East? Does anybody at this table fear any team in the Eastern Conference Finals right now to beat the Cavs in a 7-game series?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Then does it? Then I guess my question is, barring some sort of major collapse defensively, if they lose a game, I mean, look, when they played Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals, they got blown off the court twice in Toronto.
Yeah.
Blown off the court. So you could arguably say that their defensive problems are not new. And you can also look across the entire landscape of the NBA playoffs. Defense is not being played. It's not. These scores are 108, 115. It's
Golden
not,
State, too. Last playoff game, they gave up 109 points to Portland. They scored
the best
121.
Team in the NBA is giving up.
I guess.
Well,
here's my thing. If everyone knows the Cavs are the best team in the East, and we all know rest is the big thing, and the Cavs have gotten plenty of rest during the regular season, why not go as hard as you can in these games? Sweep these series if the East is not a competition, and you have all the rest in the world before you go into the NBA Finals.
I'm sure they're trying.
Who says they're not? The schedule's set up in such a way they've won they're 2-0 in the first series. It's all in all likelihood they're going to end up doing the same thing in the second series.
Okay, I'll just wait and see. I'm not currently convinced. And
Josh
and
will
I know,
not watch.
And I'll watch if
You're going to watch now?
Oh, I have been watching sparingly.
Yeah.
But that's
He's
because
a
I had
wheel
other
watcher.
No, I had other things going on.
He's running the premier
7-8-year-old softball
team right now.
program.
He's got a Junction Boys going on out there.
No, I'm not totally convinced that the proverbial switch has been flipped yet.
Right.
I don't think it needs to flip right now.
You don't think?
I really don't.
No.
I mean,
Well,
look,
I'm gonna be interested to see when it needs to be, if it's gonna happen right away.
I think we saw the beginnings of it. I think I was talking to Ed before we came on air. I said when Amon Shumpert was on the court, I felt that the team was more aggressive defensively. I mean, look, they in the third quarter last game they allowed 20 points to be scored in the third quarter. That's pretty good for an NBA team, considering that the amount of fouls that were being called and not being called and all that. was there. So I literally think the switch is, if it's not flipped, the finger's on the switch, and there's an upward motion thought about.
Again,
but we'll revisit.
With all that being said, me sounding like a total hater of the Cavs, I wish.
Yeah, they just won a championship last year.
I know,
Jesus.
I know.
I don't want to watch them play this year.
No.
Watch them done.
And he's got his Golden State Warriors hat buried under
we
over.
watch the freaking Browns every freaking week.
Let's talk about. Actually, you know, that's a great segue.
When we come back.
Yeah, there it is, Sean. You could have took it
I will
around.
give Josh, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
No, I'll just say go Cavs. I'll be rooting for them.
I hate you, LeBron James. Love Josh Jeffrey. You lazy son of a.
Play harder. Love
All right, guys. That's a great conversation. Great job with the Cavs and Indians.
Flip that switch.
And you know what? We're going to talk about another team whose effort might have been, questionable this year.
We're talking.
They only won how many games, Josh?
That would be one.
One.
The tough one.
One game.
But it's the loneliest number that you've ever seen.
But I'll tell you what, we're going to talk about them next because they have a draft coming up where, again, a lot of their picks have been questionable over the years. We're trying to change the culture in Cleveland with the Cleveland Browns. Josh Jeffy will have his opinion, and it's going to be interesting when we come back on Sports on 10.